It's so cool, and there's no one else here to see it. This is by far the best air show I've ever seen.
And just bam! I think it's time for new sales.
It's up! Have I told you that I love our home?
Hey there, I'm Kelsey, that's Tim, and this is the story of our adventure. Life is fleeting, and we want to squeeze every bit out of it. We are wandering the world, so home is a bit of a moving target for us. We love finding the random, the remote, and sharing it all with you. So subscribe to get lost with us and hopefully find some inspiration to go after your own dreams.
Welcome back. Before we get started, I want to ask you guys if you could vote for us for the International Cruisers Awards.
Yes, I'll put a QR code right here, and then I'll leave links in the description and in the comments below.
So last time we left you guys, we had just done our first sail back in the water after a lot of boat work, and now we're waiting on some packages and a weather window so we could head north.
Yes, so in the meantime, we decided to do some sailing and exploring. Okay, so we were literally just pulling up anchor, and both of us could not stop staring at the jet. He's been going for a good 10 minutes, so we pulled up anchor, and we've just been watching him fly around our boat, doing crazy stuff, like upside down, spin, stalling out, diving like he's crashing. It's so cool, and there's no one else here to see it, just us.
So cool, man, that was amazing. I mean, to see a jet of this generation actually go and sit completely still like an RC, radio controlled jet is the only thing I've really seen fully stall out like that. Wow. He's clearly showing off or showing students what this plane is capable of. So that's the F-22.
Wow, so cool. by far the best air show I've ever seen. This guy is just insane. It's non-stop. Like he's having fun. that right from our front door. So mind-blowing.
Yeah, after that wonderful air show, it was time to head out and go sailing. And as happens with sailing, something broke. Okay, what happened?
We were sailing along and suddenly we heard a boom and part of our sail finally gave up. So the clue or the tack?
I think that's the clue.
Yeah, the clue. Snapped. And so we pulled into the first reef.
So as you can see, our sail, main sail, no longer goes to the top because where that attachment point is, you can see that webbing. We noticed it fraying and just didn't think it would blow out. But yeah, in pretty light wind, it's 8 knots of wind right now. Looks stormier than it is out here. And it just bam! And all of a sudden the tail of the bottom of the sail is flapping. So we pulled in the first reef, you know, as if we'd intended it to be reefed. And now it's working just fine. And if this blows out, we've got 1 more reef. Well, 2 more, I guess. So at least we can still sail, but I think it's time for new sails. We knew this was coming. I really hoped it would.
We just wanted it to last a little bit longer.
I was hoping we'd be in Florida when we got them. Now I think we might need to get them sooner.
Yeah, okay.
But that's all right. More things to fix. Well, that was a bummer, but not entirely unexpected. It looked like our mainsail had been repaired a couple of times before.
Yeah, they're pretty tired. But we did make it to our anchorage just fine, and the next morning we were ready to go again.
Good morning. Today we're going to take you along on a little sail. So just show you what stuff we do when we're going to go sailing. So first things first, go on down here. You can hear the radio going. So we mute it overnight, so only the anchor alarm is on. So unmute it so you can hear traffic and everything that's going on. Turn on instruments and accessories. We leave fridge freezer on all the time, and then freshwater pump we kind of turn on and off. I usually shut off power to the starting battery just in case there's a parasitic draw. This manually, physically disconnects it, so I think it's a good thing to do. Winch and windlass, we'll just make sure those are, the breakers are in place. And that's pretty much it for down here. Next up is our tablet. So we bought 2 of these cheap Android tablets. I think they're Samsung, but they're fully waterproof down to like, what is it, IP, I don't know, put on the screen. But very waterproof and $150. So they are somewhat disposable, come with a case and everything. So we bought 2 of them. So we have a backup, both loaded with Navionics, Predict Wind, all the things that we use to help us when we're going sailing. So I'll turn this on, and we have a little RAM mount up here that we mounted in. And this is really our primary navigation source, along with our cell phone and of course the backup one. This, our new little radio here. It's very buggy outside, so I've been avoiding opening it. So now it's time to go.
Time to go.
So we ordered up a secondary mount for this just so we could move this and have it outside. So on that, of course, is our radio. Primary radio is within that Vesper Cortex, but also AIS is on it and things like that. So we have a lot of info we want facing us at all times. Because our chart plotter is pretty old at this point, we use it for radar, we use it for wind direction and wind speed and things like that, just so we can point the boat how we want to point it. But I don't really use the charts on it much. It did integrate with the Vesper Cortex to show AIS, so that's kind of cool. So that's that. We make sure like our inReach is on and tracking. We leave Starlink on when we're sailing just so we have constant updates on everything, weather, etc. We get our Cardos. Only thing you really have to do is when you take them out of the case is just plug in the mic here, and then we'll both turn them on so we can communicate, mainly when we're anchoring and weighing anchor. When we're sailing, we don't use these too much unless it was really windy and one of us had to go forward.
I usually just walk around and make sure nothing that could fly anywhere is out. And in the kitchen, I always move the knives because I don't have a good way to make sure knives don't go flying. So they just live in the sink until I have a better way to store them. But other than that, yeah, just making sure there's nothing that could like spill or fly and hurt something. And generally, we really like these doors being all open. So we'll lift this and keep it out of the way so you can come in and out more easily. Right now, we have the bug thing up just because it's so buggy here. No CMs. And then we'll generally remove both of these screens so you can see better. And I like having this one removed as well, just for pure clarity when you're looking out at boats, crab pots, and everything else in the water. That way you have a clear view of everything. I generally leave these side ones on just because you don't find yourself from out at the helm looking through them. And then today should be fine, but a lot of times we close those windows because if it's splashing and spraying, it will get wet in here. So yeah, if we're more offshore, we're in the Chesapeake right now, so this is pretty calm sailing, relatively speaking. But okay, we'll go out into the bug world here. So you can see I've got the power window down on this one.
And then we've been lowering this one as well, just so you have that full visibility looking through. And our little bit of tape, because it doesn't seal perfectly up top right now.
It's still a work in progress. Oh, there's so many no-see-ums.
So many no-see-ums. Time to get out of here. Okay, so we got both engines here. I generally will get one going and let it start warming up, and then I'll move to the next one. Just in case there was an issue, I want to be able to listen. I think I'm just paranoid from overlanding and being in trucks, especially with old diesels, to listen for any sort of weird noises. So on this next step, I'm going to weigh anchor. So you just hit a little button. You sure you want to weigh anchor? Yes. Now it's no longer going to alert me when we move and yell at us.
So that is also our anchor alarm. We have some on our phones and that as well. Just to
this one I feel is so much more accurate because there's a massive GPS attached to it. So this one's really good. Our phones, we've noticed, depending, like, let's say it was under a cushion, under the bed, down below, it'll freak out and think we've moved 200 feet. So just that error rate. So this is the screen we keep it on quite often unless we're using radar, just basic wind info, essentially. Just to prevent the sort of annoying noise of the main halyard banging on the mast, we'll tie it back like this. So the next step is just release all of these so we can get the sail up once we're underway. You can climb up here, and we do at times, but it's certainly nice to have this all dialed in before you actually pull up.
Or out there rolling around.
Yeah. So I'll do that with the next couple here. As you can see, our sail bag's dying. A new one will be on order very shortly. That's just about it. I think we're ready to go ahead and start up engines. I've got a windlass control back here, so I tend to operate the winch so Kelsey can do all the other things that she's doing up there, which she'll show you in a minute. Glow plugs. Don't really need them because it's warm, but hey. All right, go ahead and start the other one. I'm gonna go ahead and mount the tablet and get our course in there for where we're heading now.
Yeah, so I think we'll put on our headsets and show you how we pull up the anchor.
Looking good.
Okay.
So now we look really cool in our headsets, as you can see. These things are
so helpful, though.
Amazing. The only thing I'll sometimes do is I'll move it just slightly off of my ear, and that way I can make sure I hear any sort of calls on the radio. And then I also crank the volume quite a bit, whether I have these on or not. I like this being very, very loud. Okay, here's the split screen, one of the ones I really like. So you've got your sail, wind info, and then you've also got radar. And now that it's working again, we'll just go to transmit. There we go. There's the land next to us. There's the lighthouse right up there. Such a nice thing to have. I'm going to shut it off because we definitely don't need it right now. So we'll go to standby, and I will go ahead and just go back to sail steer for right now. Okay. And another reason I put this up here instead of down lower, I've noticed it sometimes overheats down here. So it's definitely a reason we've been putting it up high like this. This window to see the sails is nice on a longer sail, but on a hot day, I tend to just be glancing at it this way.
Okay, you're good whenever you're right above it, so you can start coming up. Yep, probably a little bit ahead of us once we get pulling a bit.
Okay, just put it in idle forward.
Yep, forward
and
slightly starboard.
Okay. So I'm just going to let the port engine push us forward and a little bit to starboard, and then I'll usually stop. We don't want to use our windlass to essentially winch the boat in along the chain. You're putting a lot of load on the windlass. So I try to keep as much load off it as we can.
Gonna just make sure this isn't gonna get stuck in here. Okay, keep coming. It's slightly behind us now and it'll port.
Okay.
Now it's behind us and slightly starboard.
Okay.
Stop. I'd let us catch up a little bit. We're pulling up a bit too hard.
That works.
Doing that. The chain. The worst part about having a lot of chain is that it just gets stuck in there, so I have to check that constantly. Alright, come back up. Still a little starboard, but we're about over it now.
Okay.
think we're probably off the bottom now.
Okay.
Okay, stop. Good, we're up. I'm just clean off the anchor. But
Okay. What Kelsey's doing is essentially letting the anchor stay in the water because it always comes up full of mud in the Chesapeake. So I will start driving a little bit, get us away from shore, just to a little bit better spot to put up sails. Not a lot of wind regardless right now. So I think enough to go ahead and have sails up though. Someone did remember to turn off their anchor alarm. Wow, that's loud. Okay.
Yeah. Sorry.
No, it's okay. We one of us always forgets to do it, so we're annoyed only at ourselves that we consistently go.
But I'd rather have it go off and
Absolutely.
have it on than not have it on.
I would rather
keep dragging.
accidentally leave it on 1,000 times than get in the habit of not turning it on.
Alright, anchor is
Okay,
up and
so with everything going on here, I'm just pre-wrapping the main halyard here because when we raise it, we've gotten in the habit of jumping it, meaning physically pulling on it. You can get it, more than halfway up that way and get it up quickly. Whereas with the power winch, we notice you can get caught on the lazy jacks because you're going so slow. So I will get us out here just a little more. And I'll turn us into the wind here. Okay, we're pretty close. Why don't we pull up enough just to see what the main's doing? We'll then know which way I need to go.
Okay.
Or if it's looking good, just keep going, but you direct me.
Yeah, it looks good. I think we're past everything that I can see at least.
Okay. You say when?
Okay.
Okay. And then everything looking okay? Looseness in the back? No reefing lines or anything upset?
Yeah, it looks good so far.
Okay. How are we looking tightness-wise?
Pretty good. You could go maybe just a touch more. I think that's good.
Yep. And then we'll go ahead and unfurl the jib here. Okay, it's about as tight as we can get it. Alright, now, even though we have both engines running, I'm going to go ahead and shut off one. Alright, there we go. Not so bad. I'll go ahead and hit stop recording on the audio.
Cool.
And just like that, we are now motor sailing with about 4 knots of wind. We'll get an advantage from it, and anytime we even can get a slight advantage, we just, I don't know, we like having them up because we're cheap and we want to use as little fuel as possible. And we notice when the sails are up, if the wind comes up, we'll go to neutral. If we hold a decent speed, something above 4 knots, we'll shut off the engines. If we're motoring with bare poles, meaning nothing up, and a little bit of wind comes up, you go, is it going to stay? You tend to not be incentivized to put up the sails. So I like just putting them up and then, using them to our advantage a little bit. And then if there's better wind, I love it when we get to put it in neutral, shut off the engines, and just sail nice and quietly. So
I'm organizing. Getting all the lines nice and ready to go for whatever might happen. Not trip us. Main halyard is a long one.
Yeah, it is.
And this is with a reef in, so
Yeah.
really it's even longer. Down here. pretty out here today, even though there's not a lot of wind and we're still having to use motors, but it's just, the temperature is amazing, and yeah, it's just so lovely. That's a good word for it, lovely.
There's so much that goes into setting sail, but we're really enjoying figuring out and learning as we go.
Yeah, and even though it's a lot of work, it is so worth it, especially when we get a day like this one. It's up! So dang peaceful when it's such light winds and the water is just calm. I love sailing like this. Not going anywhere very quickly.
Hey, 4, we're doing 4.
We were doing 5 earlier.
Perfect for flying the drone.
Yeah, it is really nice. Did you see that one? He did a special trick. You see him flapping his tail? It's so interesting, like you feel a little bit of a breeze and it makes such a big difference to the spinnaker. And then like a minute ago the flag wasn't even blowing, but it was still pulling us along. Now there's a bit more of a breeze, and you really feel the effects of just a light breeze with that up.
Totally. So cool.
Start moving. My neck hurts now after staring up at it for some
Yeah.
time.
Again. 4, I'll take it.
Yeah, it's
That's really tight. What's happening?
yeah. Well, we've been going about 3.5 knots, so we're slowly rolling in, but it is the most enjoyable slow roll ever. It is just beautiful, so calm. Not a bad way to spend the day.
Peace, be still, my darling. All is well, my darling. Your anxious heart may as well be stone.
We made it.
So good. Pork loin, barbecued onions, and a
Salad.
beautiful salad.
And it's
Okay.
beautiful surroundings. After a beautiful sail, we made a beautiful dinner. And they're beautiful surroundings.
Pretty awesome.
And I took a shower with warm water, guys. It's amazing. How's it?
Good. Little Costco pork loin.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna sit down and.
Darling,
Well, that's it for this time.
I hope that we captured some of the magic that is sailing in these calm conditions. It is so amazing.
Absolutely. Thanks for coming along. We appreciate it. Don't forget to vote for us.
Yes.
And we'll see you next time.
See you next time.
Well,
Sorry. There's geese behind Goose.
yes. The geese, they see Goose and they wanted to visit him.